Welcome to my views and news. Another video for you. Firstly, an Ethiopian singer died today uh, at a relatively young age. Secondly, Meskel was celebrated in Eritrea as well. People say, Sajid, why don't you cover Eritrea? You have been covering Meskel celebrations in Ethiopia since yesterday, sharing pictures, videos. What about Eritrea? Thirdly, airstrikes intensified on Tigray in today, recent days, and today especially we saw drone strikes and airstrikes on three cities, where in one city more than one strikes happened. And strikes are being reported on a place to the north of Shire, which was a few days ago place of fighting between Tigray fighters and Eritrean and Ethiopian forces at the Daero. So who is in control of the Daero? If strikes are being conducted on the Daero, what does it indicate? Lastly, viewers, I want to talk about UN and other aid staff trapped in Meskel. It seems that these people who are in Meskel, who are not being allowed to go out of Meskel, are just suffering because they are helping Ethiopians. What is the crime that has been committed by the aid workers trapped in Meskel? We want to speak on this point a little, because had there been no aid agencies in Ethiopia, believe me, millions would have died, especially since the start of this conflict in November 2020. Yes, you can argue about the impartiality or the way these aid organizations operate, but they have done a lot for Ethiopians. Why are they being treated in this way? Firstly, viewers, a young Ethiopian singer passed away today, Madingo Afework, at a relatively tender age. The man died today. A well-known singer, suffering from an illness reportedly for some time. Last night he was at a club, and this morning while he was traveling in a vehicle, he had some problems. Then he was taken to a clinic where he died. It's a natural death of some physical cause, some illness. Madingo was seen singing for Fano fighters and Ethiopian National Defense Force members last year, when Tigray forces were threatening to Addis Ababa, Ethiopian capital. Back then we saw mobilization in entire Ethiopia, celebrities, intellectuals, politicians, all stood behind regional and federal forces in their fight against Tigray fighters. This time, that unity is missing, which we saw last year. And last year, he was seen singing in the battlefield, clad in military uniform with Fano fighters, special Amhara special force members, and ENDF staff too. He's passed away. Condolences to his family. Secondly, people say, Sajid, is it only Ethiopia that you cover? Why not no coverage of Meskel in Eritrea? Problem is that in Eritrea you get information only through Eri TV or through Meskel. and which is not reliable. That is why it becomes difficult, and sometimes they are sharing routine information. Yes, obviously, both Eritrean and Ethiopian Orthodox churches celebrate. Orthodox churches celebrate Meskel. Meskel Damira was celebrated in Eritrea too, and this morning a large gathering was held at Bahti Meskiram Stadium. Some Bahti Meskiram Square, not stadium. And some foreign diplomats were also seen attending the program. The program was obviously related to Meskel Damira celebrations. Thirdly, viewers, today on 3 cities of Tigray, drone and airstrikes were conducted. Meskel, 27th of September, but you saw more airstrikes and drone strikes across Tigray today. Mekelle was hit more than once. I think 2 or 3 explosions were heard today in Mekelle. Target unknown, we don't know about the targets. Shire, I did a video on that a few hours ago. Shire was hit too. And some say Daero was also hit in today's strikes. Daero, situated to the north of Shire. If you remember, a few days ago, we received reports that fighting was ongoing near Daero, that Tigray forces were sending reinforcements from Shire towards Daero. Several viewers challenged that report, and they still say that Daero is not a front line. But Daero was a front a few days ago. To the best of our capabilities, we tried to confirm. These drone strikes, if they happened on the Daero, indicate that Daero is not fully under ENDF and EDF control. It means that they might be close to Daero, because we know that reinforcements from Tigray to Daero have been ongoing for some days. And today's strikes could be on TDF units deployed close to Daero. So, front is a little volatile. But since there were some drone strikes and air strikes, it means that some military activities happening there. Either some storage facilities were hit or some TDF units were hit. What we have learned is that some TDF convoys were being targeted. Overall, we have been saying that ENDF, Amhara forces, EDF, are not close to entering Shire. And that is what we are seeing, that Tigray forces have managed to keep ENDF and EDF far away from Shire. Several kilometers away, 30 to 30 kilometers away from Shire, we can say. Daero's control, who is in control of this town, it's unclear, you can say. But Shire is not about to fall, we can sum up. And by the way, these front lines keep on changing. What I'm reporting now, it might not be the position tomorrow. Things change rapidly. You see what is happening on Edirke front, on Gobiye as well. All day you receive new information. So advances, retreats go on. ENDF and EDF, they did made some advance towards Shire. We know that, but they could not sustain their advance towards Shire, and TDF managed to push them back. That is what we have learned. Lastly, viewers, what is the crime committed by staff of WFP, ICRC, other aid agencies which have been operating in Ethiopia for years, especially since the start of this conflict in November 2020? In Meskel, more than 100 members of aid organizations are trapped. They're not being allowed to leave Meskel. They are non-essential staff. Their services not needed in Tigray. Because in Tigray, you know that aid distribution has been suspended. So no need of more than 100 staff of aid organizations in Tigray. I reported a few days ago that aid organization WFP wrote a letter to Ethiopian Foreign Ministry that the ministry should arrange a flight for the evacuation of the staff from Meskel, or by road travel should be allowed. No progress so far. The staff is still trapped in Meskel. Airstrikes being conducted very close to the hotel where they are staying. And secondly, both sides, Ethiopian federal government and Tigray, are not giving the due respect which these aid workers should be given. Ethiopian government accuses them of being on TPLF side. They are siding with TPLF. What did Tigrayal government do? It seized by force around 600,000 liters of fuel of WFP. And it is said that private trucks are being painted with WFP logos to cover up the movement of TDF vehicles. It means endangering the lives of aid workers in Tigray. That is happening reportedly. It means both sides are not giving the respect which should be given to these aid organizations. By the way, I have not seen such treatment meted out to these organizations in other conflicts. I have covered major conflicts in the world. The way these organizations are being treated in Ethiopia is surprising for me. And more surprising is the way their top leadership is reacting. The reaction is silence. They are not speaking for their staff. How can UN resolve this conflict while UN cannot rescue its own staff trapped in Meskel? What is their top leadership, UN top leadership in Geneva, New York doing? Does it care for the lives of its staff? And the way Ethiopian government and Tigray regional government are treating aid organizations, will these aid organizations happily work in Ethiopia again? I am of this view that had there been no aid organizations in Ethiopia, millions would have died by now, especially in Tigray. The aid organizations became controversial, but they kept on working in Tigray. Tigray regional government is after WFP's chief David Beasley because he spoke about the theft of 600,000 liters of fuel of WFP, which is a fact. I did 2 videos on that. I shared all facts with you. So these aid organizations should be respected by the parties to the conflict. Otherwise, Ethiopian government, Tigray regional government, they are not in a position to feed the people. If all aid organizations stop their operations in Ethiopia, what will happen? People will suffer who are already suffering. Tigrayans will suffer, Oromos, Amharas, Afars, Somalis will suffer. That is why those trapped aid workers in Meskel should be evacuated. Aid distribution in Tigray, which is suspended, should be resumed. Ethiopian government should allow resumption of aid distribution in Tigray, and Tigray government should not make the aid organizations controversial by leveling false allegations against them. All sides must learn these workers are working for Ethiopians, and lower staff of aid organizations, it's helpless. It's not part of decision making. It does not know who is funding the projects, what is the agenda of those who are funding. They are just workers on the ground. They are paid people like paid government servants. So their lives should not be endangered. Otherwise, Ethiopian image, Tigrayan image on international platforms will be further spoiled, I think. Thank you for watching.